Greetings, everyone. My name is Mkhize, and welcome to another edition of our Edtech Bridges webinars, where we are looking at experiences of South African teachers abroad. And yes, we are still looking at their experiences in terms of what happens in the classroom, what happens within the school setup, and in as far as their professional development as well. So today I do have a lovely lady with me. Her name is Ngesihle Mkhize. But before I do that, I introduce her to the topic and I introduce her to the conversation. It's very important that we remember that these conversations are not universal truths. What that means is these are personal experiences of people. And then what you then must do as a viewer, as a content consumer, is that you must always do your fact checks and then do your background research, because yes, they are credible, but it's always important that you play your part in terms of doing your own background research. So these webinars, yes, are still held by me, Mkhize, the co-founder and CEO of Edtech Bridges. And what Edtech Bridges is and what it does is we are an ICT training company, non-profit company that is registered within the South African, paradigm. And then what we do is we provide training for youth, for teachers, so that we are very much able to survive in the society that is highly digital that we find ourselves in. So this is an opportunity for me to introduce our speaker for the day. I'm super excited to introduce and have this conversation with her. Her name is Ngesihle Mkhize. And I am going to read out her profile, and it reads as follows. My name is Ngesihle Mkhize from KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. I am passionate about inspiring other teachers to share their personal stories. I obtained a bachelor's degree in performance and social studies at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Through my passion for applied drama, I did a postgraduate certificate in education to use applied drama in the education field as a social transformation tool to equip me for this. I further studied applied drama at the University of the Witwatersrand through a program called Drama for Life. I taught at Khololo Academy, situated in Alexander, for 3 months and moved to North Riding Secondary, and I taught there for 2 years before I decided to leave to work in another country, specifically Doha, Qatar. I'm currently working in an international English school. I have a sound curriculum knowledge and experience in early childhood development, as well as key stage 1. I'm currently a year 2 teacher. I pride myself in being a lifelong learner and learning new things to try out with my learners. I believe and understand that my classroom, okay, let me just read it. I believe and understand that I will never have the same learner enter my classroom twice, and their experience must be unique and dedicated to their growth. The heart of a teacher. I have a blog called Inspiring Teachers at Teachers Stories 22. I began this project seeking to inspire teachers that will be entering or are already in the field of education. The thought process took me back to my young self. I used to walk home for 30 minutes as my mother was a single mother that did not have a car and was an educator in one of the townships close to home. I am stuck with an image of perseverance and resilience of my family that includes my elder sister, Ngesihle Mkhize, and my mother, Ngesihle Mkhize. It has become my duty to try and give teachers a platform to share their stories and engage with one another about overcoming their challenges. Paulo Freire said, an educational theorist stipulates, in order for the oppressed to wage the struggle for liberation, they must perceive the reality of oppression not as a closed world from which there's no exit, but a limited situation that they can transform. There's a statement that I want to be able to inspire others. Let me just say this. This is a statement that I want teachers to see their own stories, to be able to inspire others in the community and beyond. Lastly, I would like to leave you with a quote by Peter Forbes that states, stories create community, enable us to see through the eyes of other people, and open us to the claims of others. All right. That's such a beautiful background in terms of the person that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Ngesihle Mkhize. Welcome, Ms. Mkhize.
Hello, thank
Oh
you
my
so
God,
much.
that was a mouthful. That was too much. That was too much.
Could have
You are
written something
such an
really short.
inspirational teacher. You are such an inspirational teacher. Wow.
Thank
Can you talk about your blog? It's very interesting.
So I think it's been dormant for a bit of time now. But my blog was just something that I started to allow teachers around the world and for people actually to see that teachers also have stories. I
Yes.
think of the time we look at teachers as just they are just people in our society, but they've got their own stories. Why did I become a teacher? What's the driving force behind me being in this place? Because you've got to have a heart and passion for teaching if you're in the, if you're in the profession. It's not a,
Yeah.
so what is the reason behind your profession? What is the reason that you want to impart knowledge? What is the reason that you want to facilitate,
Your
learn?
story, basically. Yes. What is your story? This is beautiful.
So that was the main point, that I wanted other teachers to share their own stories, and actually society to see that we are really important people of the society, and that
Yeah.
we should have a better, uphold, like people should uphold our profession in a much higher regard. You look at me and then you look at a doctor. Oh, a doctor is, their profession is considered to be a higher, in the hierarchy. It's a high.
Yeah. The more important one. Mhm.
Yeah, teaching is so important, and we need to teach our society that, and we need to continue to let them know that we are important, we are
Yes.
valuable, and that without us, our communities, there wouldn't be
Yeah.
all these other professions. Yeah.
I love how you also like include activists, the educational activists in the space, like your Polo Frey, the people that are very much political, that they have the understanding of the role of politics in education, and they have literally foregrounded that to say, as teachers, we must equally be activists in the space, that we must ensure that the learners that we teach, we don't just teach them to be, consumers of knowledge, but they must be critical thinkers, you know.
Mm.
So I love the fact that you are also highlighting those important people. So let's talk about your role in the classroom and your activism in the space, if there's any of that sort. How do you then translate what Paulo Freire speaks about in your own classroom? How is that now coming in?
I think the curriculum, wherever you go in the world, is created politically. And
Yes.
I think that everybody should have their own theories and knowledge that they have, that they are taking into the classroom. Because
Mm,
the curriculum should actually be ever changing. It shouldn't be stagnant, and it shouldn't just be looking like the
yes.
same years and years and years. We actually need to always go back to check. Oh, I've done this. This did not work. Then we should be doing it this way. We are growing
Mm,
generation from generation. Things are different. Knowledge is different. So as a
yes.
teacher, you should actually just be a lifelong learner. And I'm open to that. I'm open to being a
Mm,
lifelong learner. I'm open to know that I'm not perfect. I'm open to know that I don't know everything. My kids teach me things on a daily basis. Feel
mm,
like I know everything, then my class wouldn't be a classroom of knowledge. It wouldn't be a
yes.
classroom that's fluid. It wouldn't be a class that learners are like content and learners are able to
Yeah.
experience what learning looks like.
I
Um,
like that. And in terms of you're mentioning curriculum and how important it is for it to also be ever changing, because the society we live in is constantly changing. Now, in terms of the South African curriculum and what you are experiencing that side, can you just take us through some of the contrasts and differences, similarities? I mean, as far as teaching that side is concerned, some of the, professional trainings that teachers get, how is it different in terms of what happens here at home and that side?
I think that professional development is so important.
Yes.
And here in Doha, I feel like I've grown and extended myself as a teacher more
I
than
love
I
that.
can ever explain, because it's teaching here is so important that in the professional space, we are getting PDs weekly, monthly, things that you need to work on as teachers, the training
Mm.
specifically for something that you as a teacher need to work on. And then not just work on, somebody is coming into the class, somebody is
Mhm.
coming to check that you are working on what you have said you have set, well, you have,
Observations and feedback, yeah.
people set out like clear goals for you, and they come back to see if
Yes.
your goals. And I think in South Africa, that's something that we really are in a space of lacking. Yes, we go to workshops. Now, mind you, I haven't been teaching in South Africa for over 5 years. So when I was in the school system and in the government school system, so I'm not talking about private sector,
Yes.
about the government school system, is that we went to so I was teaching drama, so all we did is you go to your facilitator, they tell you all the knowledge, the things that have changed, and then it's done.
Yeah.
No coming back to come and check that, am I really implementing what they have taught?
Mm.
There's no modeling of the teaching and learning. So as a teacher, I
Mm.
also need to have things modeled for me so that
Yes.
I know what I should be actually doing in the class. Theoretically,
Yeah.
great. Everyone can read, understand, but
Yeah.
show me, come back to tell me what it looks like. Let me try it, give me feedback. And I think that's
Mm.
we as a nation have got like limited sort of resources in that. We do have facilitators, we have trainers, but do
Yes.
they come back to check what you have implemented in your
Yes.
class? Or do they actually come back to come and give you feedback on
Mm.
how you can think and change
Do
what you
better, even improve, you know?
mm.
Yeah.
So I
Lovely
think
stuff.
one of the biggest things that I feel like is very similar. I think not similar, that is like very different.
Different.
And something that is similar is that education is important everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and it's all about parents' involvement. The parent is the one who is encouraging a child and a student to make sure that they're achieving all their goals. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and education is sort of like a scaffold, a stepping stone
Yes. Yes.
in life. It's sort of you're like you I don't know, like you go through a passage, and you have to go through this education in order for your life to change, like in the future. And I think a lot
Mm.
of places use it as a stepping stone, and I think South Africa also
Mm.
that it uses it as a stepping stone. Um,
Yes.
that's like one of the similarities as well. And I think just curriculum wise, we're all learning the same way. I think it's really like
Okay.
it's sort of like it's really aligned, the way that we learn and the way that I'm teaching here as well.
Yeah.
It's very like it's like similar um
In terms
in
of learning,
yeah,
right? Thank you so much for sharing that, because sometimes we normally think that we are as a South African education system, we are just in it for it. There's no intention, there's no the real thing. But the fact that you're giving us the fact that there are similarities in terms of the fact that there is a belief that education is still the key, and how we go about it might be different, but there is that overarching belief that we are at least on the right track in as far
yeah,
as understanding that it is key, right?
yeah.
So let's talk about your own professional development as a teacher now. What are some of the things that you've literally learned as a teacher, and how practical are they in the classroom? What are some of the highs and the lows in terms of you being that side and teaching that side, and anything in terms of your professional development and the one that you think that it might be very useful for us to learn? Yeah.
So in my professional development, I think I've gone through many workshops. I've gone through
Mm.
great trainings. I've just been in a training by Siraj, which was really great. It was looking at differentiation. So
Wow.
this was
Mm.
looking at the learner and understanding that all learners are very different.
True.
That you always have your learning outcomes and
Yes.
have what you want your children to achieve, but not
Mm.
everybody is going to achieve your learning outcome or your learning goal the same way. As a teacher,
Yes.
you need to be able to thread that, and you need to make sure that every child has experienced the learning
Mm.
goal in a different way. So what we do is we have tasks that are differentiated, tasks that are very different, but still are like achieving that outcome. We've got different stages
Mm.
where the children would go through around. We allow them to explore whichever one that they would like to explore, because we are such child-centered. Like, we're child-centered. It's always about the child.
Yes.
So even not to make children know that it's like medium, high, and low. It's learning is not about that, because if
Mm.
feel that they are doing something, and if they're going through our classes, they need to know that they are important. Like, Alisa, think of yourself. Think of
Mm.
yourself when you were growing up. Which teacher did you love the most? The teacher that didn't put,
Yeah.
was like, you are failing. You love the teacher that actually brought you into their class and
Yes.
made you feel like learning was really great, and made you feel that, oh, I got that. Even if you
Yeah.
were lowest in that space, you don't need to feel like you were the lowest. So when we do those differentiated tasks, we are also like maybe in a very low level, where a low level child is also able to do the task. So it's not just about your high end learners. It's
Yes. Inclusive. Yeah.
everyone in your
Mm.
class is able to do the task. So I've been to trainings like that, and that's the one I've really enjoyed being a part of, because that's something that I'm working in my class as well at the
Mm-hmm.
another training that I did was, I loved how working together as a class, like creating community in your class.
Yeah.
I think teachers, sometimes we just take it for granted, that, oh, yeah, fine, my kids just need to know each other. No, you really need to know your kids. You really
Yeah.
need to know that this person likes soccer, this person likes volleyball,
Yes.
this person likes writing letters, this person sisters
Mm.
and three brothers, because then you need to ask them, you need to follow up and be like, how's your sister? How's your brother?
Yes.
Like, for you as a learner, you always need to remember for yourself, what did that feel like when your teacher asked about things that you told them about? So also creating a community in your class, creating learners that actually care about one another.
I love that. I
Because
love that.
learning is not just about cramming, getting work, like
Yes.
graphing.
Beautiful.
Let's
Mm.
one another.
So
And
true.
in a country as well that has got expats, so it's different cultures, different people. So in your classroom, you've got different people from all over the world. So learners should get to know each other. Where are you from? Oh, wow, I'm from Sudan. I'm from
Mm.
Algeria. I'm from Iraq. Those cultures are inside your.
Yeah.
So children need to know who their friends and their community
That
is.
is so true. Yeah. I love how you bring the whole concept of diversity and making it about the students and them learning about each other, and the
Mm,
fact that you remember a teacher who literally showed interest in the things that interest you, and the fact that, like, you just bring, like, to the foreground the idea that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care for them. You're right. So that's
yeah.
very, you put it beautifully in that sense, to say be very much intentional as a teacher and
Mm,
take those professional development activities very seriously, because they do translate to what you do in the
yeah.
classroom.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. So I we did ask that you put in some slideshow, Nyana, give us an insight in terms of how it's like teaching that side, because obviously we are aware of our own reality the side,
Yeah.
but just to
Mm.
say, please give us your own and
All
then
right.
just take us through that. So let me just present this, because you did send it to me, and then we'll just go through that, and then yeah. Okay, let me do that and share quickly. Right. Are you able to see something?
Not yet. It's just loading. There we go. Teaching
Perfect.
in Qatar, Doha. So this is the place that I teach at. Beautiful city, beautiful country. Um,
Yes.
And so Doha has got something called Qatar 2030 vision. And in
Mm.
every school, this is something that they are sort of aiming towards, like every school needs to make sure that they are aiming towards this. So this is like Qatar's national vision aims that by 2030, Qatar becomes an advanced society capable of sustaining its development and providing a high standard of living for its people. Qatar's national vision defines the long-term goals of the country and provides a framework with national strategies and implementation plans can be developed. So every
Mm-hmm.
school is working towards this sort of vision.
Mm-hmm.
They are really like working us in this as well. What we have as well is I'm in a British school. That means that it follows the British curriculum. It's called Oxford English School. You'll be able to see a video later on afterwards, just looking at the school and some of the things that we have in the school. We have our classrooms as well. Our classrooms always show what the kids are doing. Our classrooms
Mm.
have got different stations of maths, English, social, and science. So always we're showing the work that we're doing, and in our classes, children should actually feel that they are looked after and that they feel that they can see what's happening around them. We've got student-centered learning. If you can see that it's always about the students. Students are using technology in classes. Students are working together in group work. It's always just about the children. So whatever you do inside the class, it's about the kids. I have really supportive colleagues. These are my colleagues. They had a day where we just celebrated my blog, Inspiring Teachers, which was awesome. So really awesome colleagues who are supportive and loving through everything. And so the rand, one Qatari real is to 4.89. I checked this morning.
Mm-hmm.
That's our currency here. And also it's like, so when we think of currency, you can go back to the other slide just for a moment. But if we look at currency, is that like you're earning that kind of money, whatever money that you're earning, but it's also important to remember that the cost of living out here is high. So you might be earning a lot of money if you think that when you like convert it, but you also need to live in the country that you where you are. Yeah. So I am a teacher. I'm a bubbly teacher. I'm a teacher that just, so I have a social life as well. It's not just about the kids. I also, life in Doha. I have my sister in Doha. That's my older sister on the right. Her and I do things together. And on the left, those are my Doha people. Um, just friends that I've met out here and friends that have come to Doha to actually visit there. In that picture, they came last year. And yeah, so I just wanted to give you a glimpse of what it's like. This is my Doha life.
Beautiful stuff. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing that. And I think we highly appreciate it because we have an idea of what it looks like. And then because you did also share a video, we'll just play that just towards the end. But
Okay.
given that very beautiful experience of the classroom, the PDs, the whole idea behind learner-centeredness, what are some of the things that you're like, you know what, if I were to become a Minister of Education or an MEC of Education in South Africa, these are some of the things that I would love to immediately implement so that we can just, transform our education system in some shape or form.
Everybody would go for training. Everybody. Every single person in that portfolio would have to be going for training monthly
Mm,
because things are changing. And,
mm,
I would really, really love that we create portfolios that are for the people who are in the kindergarten department, a portfolio that actually looks at how to develop this um, this part of our education, a
mm.
portfolio that looks at how to develop primary and not theoretically. So
Yes,
theoretically, we've got it right, I think.
yes.
So that we've got it right. But practically, What are we doing? Like, those are the biggest things
Mm.
that practically, how are we implementing? You know,
Mm.
a portfolio where I'm overseeing everybody. But there are people who are delegated to look at the different components, because learning is not just one thing. Okay, everybody must get a certain amount and a certain percentage. No, there's communication. So somebody who is in charge of those portfolio, like, I feel like there would be more people involved in
Yes.
creating um, a space where education is better, and we increase the amount of kids that are moving forward, the amount of kids that are able to go into university, the amount of kids that are
Mm.
creating job opportunities,
Yes.
like
Yes.
moving forward and sort of like moving away from poverty, where children are actually given more opportunity. We have ministers now who would never send their children to government schools. Why? But you are the ones who are creating
Mm.
space. You are the ones who are saying that it's great, it's a good level. Like, you would
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
should actually be able to go into a schooling system and
Yeah.
same kind of education.
Yeah. That
Um,
is so true.
but
Yeah. Mm.
develop. It can't just be, oh yeah, now this is it. It's ever changing, and young people who are willing to learn. That's it. For
Mm.
me, it would just be willing to learn, educate, model. Model what you have learned and show.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
people who are going to, go back to see what has happened. Has this changed? We've
Mm.
got a syndrome in our country where we love people to come and help, and then they go. No,
Nothing. There's no follow up. Yeah. Yeah.
no follow up. No follow up.
Mm.
You've done. The project needs to be ongoing. The
Mm.
for life.
And then, would you ever come back to South Africa to just, contribute in some shape or form? Where you're like, nah, fam, I'm good.
If they raise our salaries,
Right?
you know,
The
um,
coins. The
yeah,
coins.
I think that's the biggest part. Like, we leave our country because of we're underpaid, and you know, in other
Mm.
spaces, I think we valued much more.
Mm. And then in terms of the policies that side,
Mm.
how are they inclusive to teachers? As an international teacher, how are the education and labor even policies? How are they inclusive to you as a teacher, or how are they just excluding you blatantly?
So,
Are
so I think
they? Yeah. How
that
is that one? Yeah. How is that
so
one?
if you are recruited into coming into this country, you are
Mm-hmm.
recruited obviously by someone, HR, and everything. Why you are here is because of
Mm-hmm.
that. So you are included in anything. So they
Mm.
know that these are the things that you need in order for you to come into this country, and they provide those. You can't be in the country if you're not sponsored, like, by somebody. It
Yeah.
The laws are really good out here. So the
Yeah.
law is good, but it's also in your favor because you're coming in as an expat teacher who is known in the country that they are coming to teach. They don't really exclude you, but you must also remember this is not your home. You,
Yeah.
and Palis, I know that I'm going back, but I would go home. Um, I think that I would go home to be a curriculum developer. That's one of my things, is that I'd really love to be a curriculum
Yeah.
developer, but in a sense of training teachers, uh,
Yes.
not not
Teacher training. Teacher
yeah,
training. Mm.
but training, follow through, like follow up, follow through,
I love that.
feedback.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yes.
Something I would really love to do.
Mm.
When? I don't
Mhm.
know.
That's a fair answer. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
Same with me. When will I leave South Africa? I don't know. But you know what? It's at the back of my mind every day. And
Mm.
I'm like, oh my God, is it really time? But yeah, I hear you. I hear you. So in terms of like you said that you spoke about how the cost of living is very high. Do
Mm.
you find yourself that, with the salary that I'm making, I can survive, or do you still need to find some side things to so that you can sustain and maintain? Are you even allowed to have side gigs as an
No,
international teacher?
I don't have side gigs. So you are able to survive. You really
Mm,
are. You really are.
mm,
But obviously you've got to have your finances right.
mm-hmm.
You've got to be knowing exactly like what you want to do and your goals. And I think
Yes.
mistakes most of us make is like, oh, I'm going to another country. I'm gonna be earning.
I'm gonna show
Yeah,
them.
I'm gonna
I'm
be.
gonna show them at home. Yes.
And then you realize time goes by, and you're just like, what did I do? You know. So it's just all about planning, right?
Mm.
Plan.
And I
You know.
think just to add to the planning, a lot of the speakers and the people that I speak to over and above these conversations, it's all about intention and knowing why you are there. It's all about knowing your why so that you remember, you know what, I'm here because I'm here to get what I get, to impart knowledge, yes,
Mm,
at the same time, remember your why. And then
mm.
are there any sites that our audience can look at in terms of if they want to move abroad and teach abroad? Do you have that information for
So
us so that they can know? Yeah.
Teachaway, you open up your profile on Teachaway, and you actually have to like put your CV. And there's a lot of questions and stuff that they ask you, so it can't be something that you're just gonna say, "Oh, I'm gonna do it," but really not do it.
Yeah.
Job Seek and LinkedIn, and look for also like shoot your shot. Like shoot yourself, put yourself out there. Like send people emails. Look
Yes.
tools in the internet. You know, like in the Middle East, mostly schools bring you over. It's not that you must come and then you will. No, you cannot do that.
Yeah.
The scammers out here who like make you,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
think, oh yeah, I must just get there. I must just get
Mm-hmm.
there. You don't need to do that. You know, a
Yeah.
school will give you all the things that you need in order for you to be able to come over,
Yeah.
and it will make sure that you are provided for. It wouldn't be asking you that you pay this. Of course, there are
Yes.
costs that are involved. Don't not to get me wrong, there are costs that are involved, but
Mm-hmm.
it's always firstly looking after you
I
when
love
they
that.
move over into another country.
So they look after you in terms of giving accommodation.
Mm. It depends. So it also depends on your school. So every
Mm-hmm.
school obviously has got different policies, but mostly
Mm-hmm.
yes. You have
Okay.
accommodation and
Okay.
but also like included in a package.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, thank you so much for your time and availability. I wouldn't
Thank
just let your effort go to waste. Let me just show our people the video
All
in
right.
terms of giving us also a visual representation of how life is like that side. So let me just
Of
try
the
if I
school.
can just stream
Mm.
it. Yes.
So this is just my school.
Okay. Oh, lovely stuff. Nice. Okay. Beautiful stuff. So obviously it does, your school seems to be encouraging a lot of outdoor learning, which
Mm-hmm.
is inclusive and included in the curriculum. Beautiful stuff. And then are there any final words that you would like,
Yeah.
to tell and just, share with us before we
I
close?
want to say that like it's not easy. So you may look at this and looks like it's all beautiful, airy fairy. There's a lot of work that
Yeah.
goes what this is, but it's work,
Mm.
you know, and you work really hard. Very,
Yes.
we've got obviously expectations and
Mm-hmm.
goals as teachers that you need to learn. Admin is still there, um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's worth it. You
I love
know,
that.
always worth it. And like
Mm.
the opportunities that are given to you, take them with both hands. Don't take them
Mm.
with both hands. You know, don't know
Mm.
how you're going to be elevated in those opportunities and in those spaces.
Love
Yep.
it. We just, but do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I don't
Mm.
know how true is that for
Yeah,
you because you seem
awesome.
to do it so effortlessly because you love what you're doing, and
Mm.
it's also reflected in your blog. It's also reflected, in how you speak about education, which is, what, I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So we wish to have more like you. The passion must be burning. And thank you so much for making the time, and thank you so much for sharing your
Yes.
experiences with us.
Thank you for the work that you guys are doing as well,
Thank
and
you.
making information accessible for others,
Yes.
making people be allowed to see. When you
Yes.
have access, you don't know. This work,
Mm.
it is needed in our communities. It is needed.
Mhm.
So well done, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. Until we meet again, I hope that you're going to be a regular in terms of our EdTech bridges and, any other forms of talks, platforms, that you're going to be a regular. It was such a
Awesome.
lovely to have you. It
Lovely
was such
to be on.
lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now. Right, that was our speaker for the day. Her name is Ngesihle Mkhize, who gave us some insights in as far as her experiences overseas are concerned. What a lovely experience and what a lovely human being. I hope that you're able to take a thing or two from the conversation and just, give us your feedback in terms of these conversations. We do this conversation because you understand the need in terms of our teachers in South Africa and how they need the information just to change their own or transform their own current pedagogies, or just, if they want to move abroad. And I hope that these conversations are taking you from that point of not knowing to a point of knowing what to do next, right? So yes, please just keep on following Edtech Bridges on all social media. We are on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn, and we are on Twitter, as well as Edtech Bridges and PC on YouTube. Thank you for now. Until we meet again, goodbye.